Hi, everyone. We're on Patreon. Find the link in the show notes. Show off your love for being curious with the official Info on the Go merch.
Whether you're sipping your coffee from our sleek mug, staying warm in one of our cozy hoodies, or rocking that fun fact inspired t shirt, or just carrying one of your essentials in our reusable tote bag, you'll be repping curiosity and style everywhere you go.
Each item is designed with our curious, on the go community in mind, and every purchase helps support the show. Wear it, sip it, carry it. Info on the Go is more than a podcast, it's a way of life.
Patreon, find the link in the show notes. Hi, I'm William,
And I'm Kat,
and that makes this info on the go.
answering questions you want to know.
You know, Kat, we've mentioned this a few times in some of our episodes.
Yes, and I thought I knew what it was, but really didn't till this.
Same. Um, yeah, same. Dysentery on this episode of Info on the Go.
Also known historically as the bloody flux, is a form of gastroenteritis that leads to bloody diarrhea.
The term bloody flux was historically used to describe dysentery, a disease causing severe diarrhea mixed with blood. Well, I mean, yeah, mm,
Does not sound like a fun time to me.
no,
The
it
word
does not.
mm-mm, mm-mm. The word flux refers to the flow or discharge, and bloody highlights the presence of blood in the stool. Who
No,
would have
that
thunk it?
makes perfect sense.
Right.
This name vividly describes one of the key symptoms of the illness, making it a straightforward and descriptive term for the condition.
It was commonly used in historical texts and medical records, especially during times when dysentery outbreaks were widespread.
The name has since fallen out of use, replaced by more modern medical terminology.
Fascinating how language evolves, isn't it?
It is crazy. There's a lot of terms that they used back then that we no longer use.
Absolutely. The dead languages are a real thing.
Yeah. We should do one on Old English.
Old English would be a good one.
Okay, we'll put it down. It's often accompanied by symptoms such as fever, abdominal pain, and the sensation of incomplete bowel movements.
Mm. Let's give some backstory and then move on to what the causes and treatments are.
We love our history, right?
Yes.
The Peloponnesian War of the 5th century BC was a monumental conflict between Athens and Sparta, spanning nearly 3 decades.
3 decades.
3 decades.
Ooh. Amidst this prolonged struggle, Athens faced an unexpected and catastrophic blow, a devastating plague that ravaged its population. There's been a lot of plagues ravaging populations throughout the histories.
Okay, so how would we work that into a show?
Mm,
I guess devastating plagues.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I know we've got the Black Death that's coming up.
The
Um,
Black Death. I mean, there's, of course, crop plagues as well,
yeah,
locusts.
yeah. Okay. So this disease swept through the overcrowded city during the early years of the war, likely brought in by ships carrying supplies and people from other regions.
As the Athenians sought refuge within their city walls to avoid Spartan attacks, the combination of dense living conditions, poor hygiene, and inadequate waste management created the perfect breeding ground for disease. I mean, if they were following with the Romans in our plumbing episode, I can only imagine what was spreading.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Phocidius, who survived the plague himself, provided a harrowing account of its impact.
I'm sure, like, tummy movements would not be the same after that, okay?
No.
He described symptoms that align with dysentery, including severe diarrhea and gastrointestinal distress.
This epic,
Distress indeed.
oh yeah. The epidemic claimed the lives of tens of thousands, including Pericles, Athens' revered leader. Hmm.
The loss of Pericles not only demoralized the city, but also left Athens politically destabilized, with less capable leaders emerging in his absence.
This public health crisis ended Athens' military and economic power, contributing to its eventual defeat by Sparta and altering the trajectory of the ancient Greek history. So think about that. Dysentery really, um, really was the main defeat of Athens. I mean, I know Sparta was, but dysentery brought Athens down.
Right. To its knees.
Yeah.
The Black Death in the 14th century, one of the deadliest pandemics in human history, devastated Europe in the mid 14th century.
And it will be its own show. Though primarily caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, responsible for the bubonic plague. The unsanitary living conditions of medieval Europe allowed other diseases, including dysentery, to spread alongside it.
Mm-hmm. Yum. The lack of proper sewage systems and clean water sources in crowded cities made outbreaks of dysentery almost inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that terrarium for a wiping sponge.
We haven't started the Great Stink yet, but I imagine dysentery is going to show up in there too.
Absolutely.
While the plague inflicted sudden and widespread mortality, dysentery compounded the suffering by causing prolonged illness and death, particularly among the malnourished and vulnerable.
The
Mm,
overlapping impact of these diseases overwhelmed communities, leading to social and economic collapse. I mean, when oof, everybody's just not doing good at all.
no. And then, we're going to talk about how it spread, but I mean, just by not unsanitary conditions of the time, like, eh,
Right.
mm,
Well, and like they didn't really think of it as unsanitary conditions at that time. It was, the miasma in the air. Okay.
yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to get into that too, but yeah. Mm. Not in this episode. We're not going to get into the miasma, but what was the other one that germ theory? So the germ
Mm,
theory wasn't even thought of then. It was miasma. That
right.
was the leading theory on how diseases were caused.
To make miasma a short definition, it would essentially like it also depends on which culture you're going with, but spirits in the air or kind of like air pollution.
Yeah, it's going to show up in our Black Death and the mask that they wore. So be on the lookout for that.
Right.
Entire villages were abandoned, trade routes were disrupted, and labor shortages altered the fabric of feudal society.
Dysentery, though less infamous than the plague, contributed significantly to the era's misery by exacerbating the overall public health crisis. I mean, exacerbating the public health crisis indeed.
Oh, yeah. Both
Mm.
events underscore how disease, often magnified by human actions and living conditions, have shaped the course of history. Yeah, I mean, just think of it, all the people that, you know, died from these horrible diseases and,
From weakening military powers to dismantling societal structures, dysentery's role in these moments revealed the profound interplay between health and historical outcomes. I mean, I can only imagine weakening military powers. I mean, you can't have a military if everybody's, in distress with
distress is not
diarrhea,
even, yeah, distress is not even a word. I mean, abdominal pain. I mean, could you imagine like having to,
cramping and feeling like you have to go, but you don't have anything left to go because you've been going for days.
yeah, not only that, you got dehydration that's going to be a symptom now
And
because you're,
that's causes a myriad of other issues.
yeah, we're going to get into some of that stuff in a minute though. Throughout history, dysentery proved to be a formidable adversary during military campaigns.
The devastated forces in ancient Greece disrupted the strategies of Napoleonic armies and ravaged troops during the American Civil War.
The condition, exacerbated by poor sanitation and inadequate medical knowledge, often incapacitated soldiers, altering the course of conflicts. Well, I would say so.
During the First World War, let your imagination take over there.
All right.
Mm,
The trench warfare of the First World War. created unsanitary conditions that were highly conducive to the spread of dysentery.
Yeah, I mean the trenches. Okay, there's a reason why I'm in the trenches is a saying today. Okay, the trenches were the worst place to be. So not only did you have dysentery, but you had gangrene. So you're lucky to keep your appendages along with, your guts falling out, basically.
Yeah. Mm.
Oof. The disease was transmitted primarily through the fecal oral route and via contaminated food and water supplies.
And where Kat said, let your imagination take over here, we're just going to keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
Its prevalence among troops undermined morale and contributed to a high toll of illness during the war.
During the Second World War, bacillary dysentery took on colorful nicknames such as GIs, Deli Belly, Simla Trots, and Gimpy Tummy, highlighting a pervasive and impact on U.S. soldiers stationed in tropical environments.
All right, I can see the soldiers saying everything but gimme tummy. I'm pretty sure they had something else for that.
Gimpy Tummy. Yeah, I don't see them saying that either.
Yeah. Second only to malaria as a disease threat, dysentery claimed the health of countless service members and demonstrated the vulnerability of troops to waterborne diseases.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This May, Spirit of 76 Fireworks is lighting up the sky with purpose, introducing Power of Pink, a dazzling 25-shot cake that supports breast cancer awareness year-round.
While October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the fight never stops. That's why Power of Pink keeps the conversation alive and honors those affected every single day.
A portion of every Power of Pink sale goes directly to breast cancer research and supports organizations. So when you celebrate, you're also making a difference.
Light up the night, spark change, the power of pink, because awareness shines brighter when we stand together.
Find a retailer near you at 76fireworks.com. That's 76fireworks.com. Hi, everyone. I want to tell you about a unique Father's Day gift, one that'll last for generations to come, and that's with TellMail.ai. Mail captures the stories, the memories, and the wisdom, and will put it into beautifully crafted chapters. You can turn these into a hardcover book that you can share for generations. My personal experience with TellMail is going to allow me to be able to share my childhood memories with my children, my grandchildren, and hopefully their children. If you're looking for a unique Father's Day gift, look no further than tellmail.ai. Click the link in the show notes.
Though large-scale outbreaks of bacillary dysentery within armed forces have become less common, smaller outbreaks continue to occur during military operations.
Well, I think the sanitation part of it has really evolved from what it used to be, too.
For sure, we're not all using a sponge to wipe with,
Uh,
sitting like a foot next to the other hole somebody's using too.
you're never gonna let me get past that
Absolutely
history
not.
of plumbing.
Absolutely not. I'm ruined. And I picked it.
In developing nations, shingles, formerly referred to as bacillary dysentery, remains a severe public health issue, causing hundreds of thousands of deaths annually and underscoring its ongoing global significance.
This account illustrates how dysentery has not only shaped military outcomes, but also continues to influence public health strategies to combat its spread and manage its impact in vulnerable regions of the world. Dysentery is typically caused by bacteria from the Shigella genus, resulting in shigellosis, or by the amoeba Entamoeba histolytica, causing amoebiosis.
Other possible causes includes chemicals, additional bacteria, protozoa, or parasitic worms.
We will dive a little deeper into each one first.
Shigellosis is an infection caused by four types of Shigella bacteria.
It spreads when people come into contact with feces that have the bacteria.
This can happen through contaminated food, water, hands, or during sexual contact. Flies and diaper changes can also spread it. So,
Washing your hands.
yeah, I was going to just wash your hands and don't be downriver.
Don't be downriver. Doctors diagnose shigellosis by testing stool samples.
Sorry, the downriver thing has got me. Washing hands properly lowers the risk of infection. Here, we should say there is no vaccine for this type of dysentery.
Most cases get better on their own with plenty of rest and fluids.
Bismuth sabsilicate, sold generically as pink bismuth and under brand names including Pepto-Bismol, Pepto-Calm, and Bizpactor, may ease symptoms, but medicines that slow the bowels are not recommended.
Antibiotics may be used in severe cases, though resistance is common. Common antibiotics including ciprofloxacin and azithromycin.
The World Organization, or the WHO, reported that shigellosis affects at least 80 million people and causes 700,000 deaths globally each year, mostly in developing countries.
Young children are the most affected, and outbreaks can happen in schools and daycare centers. Yeah, those are the most germiest places you can get.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still dumbfounded by 80 million people,
Right,
that it affects, but I mean, it's killing almost a million people globally each year.
which is still insane.
Yeah, I mean, travelers often get shigellosis too. Here in the US, about 500,000 cases occur annually. Washing those hands.
Wash them hands.
Yep.
Up next on our dysentery journey is
Entamoeba histolytica is a parasite that belongs to a group of microorganisms called entamoeba.
it mainly infects humans and other primates, causing a disease known as amoebiosis.
Around 35 to 50 million people worldwide are affected by this parasite each year, and it leads to over 55,000 deaths annually.
In the past, scientists thought that 10% of the world's population was infected, but later discoveries revealed that most cases were actually caused by a similar species called Entamoeba dispar.
While animals like dogs and cats can temporarily carry this parasite, they don't really play a major role in spreading it around.
The name histolica comes from histolysis, meaning the breakdown and destruction of body tissues.
Entamoeba histolytica exists in two forms. The active form, trophozoite, lives inside the host or in fresh feces, while the cyst can survive outside of the host in water, soil, or on food, especially in moist conditions. It sounds
Moist
disgusting.
conditions, just, yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Infection happens when someone eats or drinks something contaminated with feces containing the cysts or touches contaminated surface and then puts their hands in their mouth. Wash
Wash.
them hands.
Yes.
Wash them. Wash them. Okay. They needs to be washed.
Cysts are killed by heat or freezing and can survive for only a few months outside the body. A few months.
Months.
Yeah. Once swallowed, the cysts release the active form in the digestive system, leading to the infection.
This parasite was first identified as harmful by Fedor A. Losch in 1875 and was later named E. histolytica in 1903.
Symptoms may include severe diarrhea, bloody stools, weight loss, tiredness, abdominal pain, and in rare cases, it may spread to other organs like the liver, lungs, brain, or spleen.
Most of those you cannot live without. Your spleen, you can take out your spleen and be all right, okay? But those other ones, you need those.
Yeah, but
Liver abscesses caused by E. histolytica can be fatal if untreated.
I'm sitting here, I'm focused on the brain. This thing can go to your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Wash your
I mean, if it gets
hands.
into your blood, wash your hands.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Protozoa are single cell microorganisms that belong to the group of karyotes, meaning they have a nucleus within their cell. Hmm.
They come in various shapes and sizes and are found in diverse environments such as soil, water, and inside living organisms. That doesn't leave much that they don't live on.
No, doesn't. If you have contaminated soil or water, I mean, we just did one on nasal irrigation and we're talking about, making clean water. Just think if you got these parasites in your nasal irrigation.
Absolutely
Mm,
not. Wash
yeah.
your hands. Wash your nasal irrigation systems. Wash all the things. Soap and water.
Distilled water.
Yes.
Protozoa can be free living, surviving on their own, or parasitic, living in or on another organism.
Some protozoa are harmless, while others cause diseases in humans and animals.
Examples of diseases caused by protozoa include malaria, which will be its own episode, and amoebic dysentery.
These organisms can move using structures like tiny hair like cilia, whip-like flagella, or through a flowing motion called amoeboid movement.
Hmm. Have you looked up any of those?
I know what cilia are and I know what flagella are, but I did not know about an amoeboid movement.
Look it up.
I shall.
Parasitic worms, also known as helminths, are organisms that live inside a host body and rely on it for survival, often harming the host in the process.
They are larger than single-celled parasites like protozoa and can affect both humans and animals. Parasitic worms are divided into three main groups.
And we'll just say right here, we're going to do a whole nother episode on that. We're just going to mention it here.
Mhm.
Roundworms. These are long, cylinder-like worms. Examples include Ascarius and hookworms.
Flatworms. These are leaf-shaped worms, often called flukes. Schistosma, which causes schistomosis, is an example.
Man, seashells by the seashore. I couldn't do it. You did a great job.
Well, thanks.
Tapeworms. These are flat, ribbon-like worms that live in the intestines. They include species like Tenna, which can cause tapeworm infections.
Parasitic worms spread through contaminated food, water, soil, or direct contact with an infected host. Again, that doesn't leave much that they don't live on.
No, and they all have the same thing in common, you know?
Right. Wash your hands.
Yeah. They can cause a range of health problems, such as digestive issues, malnutrition, fatigue, and more severe complications if they invade other organs. Proper hygiene, cooking food thoroughly, and clean drinking water can help reduce the risk of infection.
Dysentery is usually transmitted through contaminated food and water, especially in areas with poor sanitation, and also involves inflammation of the intestines, particularly the colon.
Prevention efforts focus on hand washing and maintaining food safety, particularly when traveling to high risk regions.
Wash your hands. Medications that reduce diarrhea, like loperamide, are generally not recommended alone, but may be combined with antibiotics.
Dysentery remains a significant global health issue.
Shigella is responsible for approximately 165 million cases of diarrhea and 1.1 million deaths annually, primarily in the developing world. Areas lacking sanitation, bloody flux accounts for nearly half of diarrhea cases and causes over 55,000 deaths yearly, particularly in less developed regions of Central and South America, Africa, and Asia.
The disease has been recognized since ancient times, dating back to the writings of Hippocrates.
Ancient times, and we still thought it was miasma. The most common type of dysentery, called bacillary dysentery, is usually mild.
It causes belly pain, lots of diarrhea, which may show up 1 to 3 days after getting sick and usually goes away in about a week.
Provided you have lots of fluids and plenty of rest.
Yes.
How often someone needs to go to the bathroom, how much watery poop comes out, and whether there's blood, mucus, or pus in it depends on the germ causing the illness.
Some people may also have trouble digesting milk for a while.
In more serious cases, there can be bad stomach cramps, fever, feeling dizzy or confused, or even going into shock.
In extreme situations, a person could lose over a liter of fluid in just 1 hour. That is wild.
That sounds like death to me.
Yeah, that would be pretty close to it.
Most of the time, though, people deal with bloody diarrhea, severe belly and rectal pain, and a low fever, which still doesn't sound like a fun time to me.
No, I think if you have any of those symptoms, you should see a doctor.
Please.
Yeah. Sometimes they might lose weight quickly or have sore muscles while feeling like they might throw up, and that just doesn't happen.
Rarely, tiny parasites from dysentery can get into the bloodstream and travel to other parts of the body. If this happens, they might infect organs like the brain, lungs, or most commonly the liver, and cause more serious problems. I mean, absolutely, you can't live without those things, okay? If those are infected and they get broken, they're hard to fix.
So, we talked a lot about what dysentery is caused by. It's caused by bacteria and parasites. It is not usually caused by viruses.
And these germs enter the body through dirty food, water, or hands.
So, wash your hands, make sure your food is cooked and your water's clean. They travel to the intestines where they can cause damage.
And this makes the body react with a fever, stomach cramps, swelling in the intestines, and even more damage as the immune system fights back.
Because of this, the intestines can't absorb nutrients or water properly, leading to dehydration, diarrhea, and sometimes blood loss, which can cause anemia. Other bacteria, like certain types of E. coli, can also cause bloody diarrhea by making harmful toxins.
Both kinds of dysentery can be serious and need proper hygiene and treatment to prevent and cure.
In traditional medicine, parts of the capic tree, like its seeds, leaves, and bark, were used by indigenous people in rainforests across the Americas, Africa, and Asia to treat dysentery.
Back in 1915, during World War I, an Australian scientist named Fanny Eleanor Williams worked as a medic in Greece, helping soldiers injured at Gallipoli.
Many soldiers there were suffering from dysentery, which made them very weak. Williams teamed up with another scientist, Sir Charles Martin, to study dysentery.
Their research helped improve ways to diagnose and treat the disease. Later in 1946, a helpful bacteria called Bacillus subtilis was sold in Europe and America as a treatment for gut and bladder infections, including ones caused by Shigella.
But when antibiotics became more common, people stopped using it as much.
Well, that's why probiotics are such a good thing.
Yes. Therefore, treating dysentery early and ensuring proper rehydration are critical to prevent these dangerous outcomes.
Access to clean water and oral rehydration solutions can play a significant role in managing dehydration and reducing the risk of severe complications.
The treatment for dysentery depends on identifying the cause of the infection, whether it's bacterial or parasitic.
For bacterial dysentery, antibiotics are often prescribed to eliminate the harmful bacteria responsible for the illness.
If the infection is caused by parasites, antiparasitic medications are used to target and destroy the parasites.
It is crucial the appropriate treatment is determined by a healthcare professional, as the wrong medication may not be effective and could potentially worsen the condition. I mean, yeah, if you're trying to treat something that it's not, you're just not going to get better, man.
Yeah. In addition to addressing the infection itself, managing dehydration is a key part of the treatment. Frequent diarrhea can cause significant loss of fluids, electrolytes, which are vital for the body's functions.
Washing hands regularly with soap and clean water for at least 2 minutes, consuming safe and uncontaminated food and drinks, and isolating affected individuals when needed can all help prevent the disease from spreading further.
With prompt treatment and proper care, most cases of dysentery can be successfully managed and resolved.
Well, I learned a lot about I need to wash my hands.
I think we all learned about the need to wash our hands. That's pretty much all I've got, Kat. I mean, I know more about what dysentery is now. I just
I never
before
want to experience it in my life, never. Mm-mm.
no, I just thought it was when we talked about it. I just thought it was like bad diarrhea or something.
I thought it came from the Oregon Trail game. You know, you died of dysentery just randomly in the middle of the Oregon Trail.
I guess in the game, if you got dysentery, you were pretty much gone.
Yeah, I mean, you're traveling between towns, okay? I mean, if you're traveling in between towns and you get dysentery, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
Whole bunch of nothing. Especially if you don't know where the clean water sources are, okay? You died of dysentery. So if you would like to support this podcast,
Click the support link in the show notes.
William and I want to thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Join the Facebook group at Info on the Go,
Share with us your show ideas.
or ask us a question.
Subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Send us a text using the link in the show notes or leave a review.
Email us at,
infoonthegopodcast@gmail.com.
and yes, that is all one word. Till next time.
Stay curious.